Hi soulmates, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. New subscribers, returning subscribers, thank you for being here with me. I love you guys so much. So in today's tutorial, we're going to be sewing this beautiful dress that you see on the screen. In our previous tutorial, we did the pattern drafting. So if you're yet to see that video, you can go ahead and see it and then come back and see this one. So if this is what you're interested in, then let's get started. So I have here with me the top part of the dress. This is the front part, as you can see. Okay, like I said, if you have not seen this pattern drafting tutorial, just go ahead and see that and come back. So you can see the front design that I have there, and as you can see as well, I have transferred my dart. Okay, so what we're going to do now is to cut the facing for this front part. So I'm just going to open it up like this, place it on another fabric, same fabric, right sides facing each other, and I'm going to cut. Just carefully cut this part. Okay, you don't want to rush it. So as you can see how I'm cutting it, that's how you're going to cut it. Okay, and then go ahead, cut everything that you need to. Just carefully do so. As you can see, this part you're not cutting anything out, just cut like this, and this is it. Okay, so I'm just going to trim off this side as well. So as you can see, this is it. So I'm going to be stitching down the darts like this, just pin it down, and then this part here, you're going to pin it around, pin it round. Okay, properly pin it round, and then I'm going to stitch down by 1/4 of an inch, just as you see me moving my hands. That's how I'm going to stitch down. Okay, so I'm going to do all that and come back and show you. So you can see, guys, I've stitched it down, my dart and the top part of the dress. So what I'm going to do now is to notch this part. Okay, you're just going to notch a little bit. Okay, just maybe 2 or 3 would do. Just go ahead, and then we're going to turn it to the other side and press it. Okay, so as you can see, I have turned it and I have pressed it a little bit. That I've ironed a little bit, as you can see. Okay, so this is what we have. So next I'm going to place the skirt part like this, and I am going to pin it down. Okay, you're going to place your skirt part and pin it down like this. So we're going to stitch down by 1/2 of an inch. Okay, so that's what we are going to do. So I'm going to do that and come back and show you. So this is the back part, and as you can see, I have done the same thing already. I've placed the lining already, and I've stitched it and ironed it. So as you can see, this is what it looks like. You can see it's very neat. So the next thing we're going to do is to fix in our zipper. But before that, we are going to take down our dart, and then this is the skirt part that will be joining after we take down our dart. Okay, so this is how you're going to place your skirt part. But before then, you're going to first of all go and then stitch down the dart. Just place your pattern paper on it, the pattern paper that we drafted in our drafting tutorial. Place it like this and just trace it like we did for the front part of the dress. So this is it, guys. As you can see, I have done all of that. The zipper, fixed the zipper, as you can see, and the that as well. I have stitched everything down, so can you see how it looks? Okay, so I'm going to turn it to this other side. Next thing I'm going to do is to cover up. Okay, we're going to cover up this part. Now remember that we'll be fixing a down part. Okay, so there will be no opening, so you stitch it down to the very end. All right, so I'm going to, okay, so as you can see, guys, I've already done that, and then I stitched down this part. Okay, can you see? I stitched it down. I opened it up and stitched down like this. So this is what we have. So the next thing we're going to do now is to make our ruffles. Now this is the part, this is the fabric that I'm using for the ruffles. Okay, this is a vintage fabric. So I'm just going to I've already cut it out. So what I'm working with is 30 inches. Okay, the width is 30 inches. That is 30 inches long, and then the length is 30 inches, and the width I think was 55 inches. Okay, so what I'm working with is 55 inches. So what you're going to do is to make your ruffles, your gather stitch. Okay, so you're going to run it at the first line. Then now note that we'll be having 3 steps. Okay, we'll be making 3 steps of gather stitch. Okay, so you can see from the top I came down by 12 inches. Okay, from the top of the fabric I came down by 12 inches. Okay, remember the full length is 30 inches, so I came down by 12 inches. Okay, so what we're going to do now is to mark 12 inches from the top. We're going to make 2 of this. Okay, please, I hope that you understand. And then I'm going to connect it like this, so I'll be able to, just stitch a straight line. I want the line to be straight, so I'm going to measure from the top 12 inches down, and then I'm going to mark them with my pen and then connect a straight line across the points as you see me doing, okay? So I'm going to do this, okay, to the end, and then mark it as you see me doing. Now from this point that you see, this is where we're going to be stitching, okay? We're going to make our gather stitch on the top first, on this line next, and then from this line, we're going to measure 12 inches down again, okay? From this point, you're going to measure 12 inches down again, and then we're going to repeat the same process, okay? So you're going to measure 12 inches down from this point as we did. Measure 12 inches down again. We're going to mark, and then we're going to connect, okay? We're going to connect all the way to the end, just as we did. That is what you're going to do. So go ahead and connect all those parts, and let's get on with it. Alright, so we are through with it. So we're just going to go ahead and make our gather stitch and come back and show. So we're going to be doing that for both the back and the front piece, okay? It's the same thing. Alright guys, so as you can see, I am done with making my gather stitch, okay? And then I am going to measure this point, okay? My hip divided by 4 is 44 inches, okay? So divided by 2 is 22 inches, and I added 2 inches for the seam allowance, okay? So as you can see, I am just going to measure around to make sure that I get the 24 inches, okay? So I'm going to place it on the skirt part and then stitch it down. So as you can see, that is what I have done here. So I'm going to place it on this upper part like this, okay? Right side facing each other. You're going to pin it down, okay? Make sure that as you pin down, you try to adjust it. So that is what I'm trying to do. So you're going to pin it down all the way around, okay? And then you're going to stitch down by 0.7 inch or half of an inch, whichever one you prefer. So as you can see, I've stitched it down, okay? This is what I have. Now you can see that I have not gathered the other part. So that is what you're going to do now, okay? So if you make your gather stitch first at the other two gather stitches that we've made, it's going to be difficult for you. So you just make the first one, you make your ruffles, you fix it, and then you do this, okay? So as you can see, after I fixed it and then I've pulled the other two as well, okay? I've made my ruffles on this other side. So I'm going to measure around to make sure that I have the same 24 inches that I have on the hip point, okay? So that is what I'm doing. So after I've done that, you can see how it looks like, okay? It is very simple. So the next thing that we're going to do is to make the ruffles that we'll be placing on top. So this here is the band that I'm using, okay? I've cut and then turn it around. So I cut by 5 inches, stitch down by half of an inch, turn this, and then I press with my iron. Okay, so I'm just going to divide this into 2 equal parts. You can just use your free hand when you're sewing. Okay, so I'm going to make my ruffles as well with this. So you can decide to just make your gather stitch and then pull, but that one is way more difficult. Okay, but if you're a beginner, I would advise that you use this method to have like a very equal, like the both sides, so that the both sides will be even and all that. So you can do that, or you can just decide to pleat it on your sewing machine. You just put it there and make your gather stitch, okay, if that is what you prefer. But if you're a beginner, you can use this method. So you just pull the thread, one side of the thread, and then move it down like this until you get your 24 inches. Now it has to be 24 inches, so you can place it. It can be 26 inches if you want. You just cut off the excess. So what you're going to do is to open it up like this. Okay, you're going to pin it down. Okay, you're going to pin it down on that same line that we joined, the same line that we joined the upper and the lower part. That's where you're going to just go ahead and pin it down. You're going to open it up and pin it down to the end. Can you see what I'm doing? You open up the ruffles like this, open it up properly, and then pin it around all the way to the other side. After you've done this like this, if you have any excess, you can cut it off, or you can decide to pleat it in as I just did. So can you see? So the next thing that we're going to do after we've pinned down, the next thing we're going to do is to stitch it down on the middle. Okay, you're going to stitch round the midpoint is what you're going to be stitching from. Okay, so you're going to do this for this other side as well, both for the back and the front. You are doing the same thing. Can you see? So you pull on it, that gather stitch that you've made, you pull on it, and then when you get your 24 inches, you fix it in. Can you see? So we are basically through with it. As you can see here, this is what it looks like, guys. Can you see? So next we're going to do is to stitch down this part, the hem line. We're going to stitch down by 1 inch or half of an inch or whatever you desire. Okay, so this is what we have. This is basically it. So now we're going to join the back and the front together, and what you're going to do is to open up the front like this, and then you're going to place the back on it, right sides facing each other, and then you're going to hold it together at the midpoint like this. Okay, so we're going to be joining this like this, lining to lining, and then main fabric to main fabric, just the way I am pinning down. That's how you're going to pin it down. Can you see? After you've pinned it, you're going to do that for the both sides. You hold the midpoint, you open it up like this, pin it together. Okay, you pin the both sides together, and then you start to sew. Okay, so this is how you're going to sew your shoulders together. So as you can see, I have stitched it down by half of an inch. This is what I have on the inside and on the outside as well. Now this method is called the inseam finishing. So after that, we're going to be working on our sleeve. I'm just going to make a sleeve here. Now just go ahead and draft your basic sleeve, just a short sleeve. I'm trying to work with what I have left. Okay, so I'm just going to cut it open as you see. Okay, it's very simple. So just go ahead and trim the excess. So I'm just going to notch the midpoint, and then we're going to fix it. Okay, we're going to fix it to the main fabric. So you pick it up like this, right sides facing your shoulder, and then you pin the midpoint that you notched to the midpoint of the shoulder line there. Afterwards, we're going to stitch down the sides. Okay, you're going to just place the sides like this and stitch down by 1. And after stitching this, I'm going to hem the hemline. Okay, guys, so you can see this is the finished look of the dress. Now, if you want, you can make the lower part of the dress wider. Okay, you can see it on me here. If you want, you can make yours wider. Okay, after this, I'm going to just open it up and make it the bottom part a little bit wider. So this is it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'm really grateful. Thank you for staying with us, and I'll see you in our next tutorial. Bye.